Hello, this is Dr. Heather Lee, and this is a discussion about thinking and questioning in the classroom. And we're going to talk about the importance of both of these issues, especially questioning, research related to questioning, the different types of questions we can ask in the classroom, and then some techniques, things that we can do to make our questions the most effective and to bring about the type of thinking that we desire to have. I first want to draw your attention back to something that we've seen before. It's a list of 9 instructional strategies that strongly affect student achievement. And Marzano and a group of researchers conducted this. They wanted to find out what things did teachers do that truly made a difference, helped students to achieve better. And these are 10 things that they found, and so 9 things. So obviously these are things that we should be doing in the classroom. For example, when teachers had students identify similarities and differences between things, the students had a 45 percentile gain compared to students whose teachers didn't have them identify similarities and differences. So that's a very simple thing we can do to bring about a lot of student achievement. Summarizing and note-taking was another, reinforcing effort and providing recognition. Homework and practice. Non-linguistic representations like the graphic organizers that we worked on earlier in this course, cooperative learning, setting objectives and providing feedback about how well students met those objectives, generating and testing hypotheses, and a 9th one, questions, cues, and advanced organizers. These are all things that we can do, and we're going to focus on questions. It's something that teachers do all the time in the classroom. We continually ask questions, and we really need to know how well we're doing with asking questions and how to do it well. So I want you to think about something. Let me just ask you a question. I want you to think in your mind, what is the relationship between thinking, questioning, and learning? If you had to put together, kind of string together a sentence that had all 3 of those and showing their relationship, what kind of sentence would you give? Take a minute to think about that. Now, as we go along today, I'm going to ask you that same question at the very end, and I'm hoping it might bring some clarity to how thinking, questioning, and learning are related to each other. So first, let's talk about intelligent behavior, the kind of thinking that we want to have in the classroom. Take a minute and read several of these boxes. Drawing on knowledge and applying it to new situations. That's a very intelligent thing for students to do. Finding humor in things is intelligent. That's a different one. Creating, imagining, and innovating. Managing impulsivity. When we can manage our impulses and make smart decisions, that is intelligent behavior. Listening and understanding with sympathy. Responding with wonderment and awe. Continuing to go around clockwise here. Thinking flexibly, persisting, thinking and communicating with clarity and precision, thinking independently, thinking about thinking, which is metacognition, using all of the senses, taking responsible risks, questioning and posing problems, striving for accuracy, remaining open to continuous learning. These are the types of things that we want our students to do in their minds so that they really are smart people, are intelligent people. So these are the things that we should also be doing in the classroom. This is what we mean by thinking, by good quality thinking. So we're going to talk specifically about questions and how questions can bring about good quality thinking. So first I want you to think, why do teachers use questions in the first place? What is their goal? What is their purpose? And here are some of the many reasons that you could have. Teachers could use questions to motivate or interest their students, to reveal prior misconceptions and to evaluate. For example, you ask a question to find out whether your students know the right thing or not, whether they're on track or how well they're on track. You can use questions to guide students' thinking. They could even be used to discipline, manage, or control. In other words, I might call on you at any time, so you better be listening. Teachers could use them to give listening cues, to diagnose strengths and weaknesses, to relate concepts to each other, to summarize. Many, many different reasons why teachers might use questioning. The kinds of questions, though, are very important. The kinds of questions that we ask. First of all, there's two key words, and let me just tell you right up front, you need to know these two terms right here. Convergent and divergent questions, all right? First, the word convergent questions. If you think about two roads converging, that means they come together, kind of to a point. There's a place where they all come together. And a convergent question is one where there's just one right answer. There's one way to answer it. You know, for example, who were the characters in the novel? There's really only one way to answer that correctly. And often these kinds of questions are lower level thinking. They have to do with facts or with basic comprehension. Convergent questions. Now, they certainly can be asked in the classroom, and there are times we need to ask about specific facts, specific things. But the opposite of convergent is the divergent question. These are questions where there are many possible answers, and these are the types of questions that elicit higher level thinking, the application, analysis, synthesis, evaluation. For example, what did you like about the novel? If you ask that to students, obviously there's many different acceptable answers, but they have to, in their minds, sort through a whole lot. What they remember about the novel, which part stood out to them, whether those things resonated, made them happy, made them sad. There's a lot that they need to think about, and a discussion about that question could take quite a while. What did you like about the novel? So we have convergent questions, one right answer, divergent questions with many possible answers. And we want to have both in the classroom, but we really want to have an emphasis on those divergent questions as well. There's another way we describe kinds of questions. We describe them as lower level thinking or lower order thinking versus higher order thinking. And lower level thinking, most people agree that the knowledge and comprehension level of Bloom's, that's lower level thinking. And then some even say that third level of application, that's lower level thinking. Now, since this is for a high school course, the students at the high school level, their brains are more advanced, they're capable of more. So for them, knowledge, comprehension, and application, those should all be considered lower order thinking, things that are fairly easy for students to do. Then there's the higher level, higher order thinking. This is the analysis, synthesis, and evaluation level of Bloom's. And it's really important that you understand that asking students to think is what teaches them to think. As a teacher, when you ask questions, you are deciding what's going to go on in the brains of your student. You are giving them an opportunity to do something in their mind related to thinking. So if you only ask lower order questions, knowledge, comprehension, facts, names, numbers, then your students' brains are going to be doing lower level thinking. But if you ask questions that make them analyze things, pick them apart, create new things, evaluate whether something was right or wrong, whether it was creative or not creative, helpful, not helpful, those make students think, and think in these higher level ways, and we really want to concentrate on that. So just as a quick review, we have these levels of Bloom's taxonomy. Remember that Bloom's taxonomy has been updated, and they're now different types of verbs and whatnot. And I want you to be aware of that update. But we're going to be studying the more classic Bloom's taxonomy. Oh no, I'm sorry. These are the ones that we are doing actually are the revised levels of Bloom's taxonomy. So this is good. So you can be familiar with these. So we have, first of all, to remember, that's the same as the knowledge level in the previous Bloom's taxonomy. This is when you're recognizing or recalling something, like what date was the Declaration of Independence signed? Then we have the understand level. This is the same as comprehension in the old Bloom's taxonomy. This is constructing the meaning of instructional messages, including oral, written, and graphic communication. So when you want to find out whether your students understand something, some sample verbs are summarizing, comparing, classifying, explaining. So for example, why did Americans desire their independence? All right, that's something that students don't have to make up. It's pretty clear if you do some reading and teaching, they should be able to pull that together and then describe in their own words why Americans wanted their independence. That's that second level. A third level is apply, same as application in the old one. Carrying out or given a procedure in a given situation. This is when they actually need to use the information. Here's an example. Imagine you are the leader of a country that wants to become independent. What things might you do to become independent? All right. So in the class, you've already talked about independence and probably America wanting independence. And they've learned about the example of America. So now you're going to have them apply that knowledge. What things might they do to become independent? Then we have analyze, which is the same as the analysis level in the original Bloom's taxonomy. This is when you break material into parts and determine how those parts are related to each other. So when you differentiate, when you find the differences between things, when students have to organize and reorganize things, or attributing, those are all types of analysis where you break something apart. For example, make a list of the battles we have studied in order from most important to least important in the overall war. Tell why each battle was significant. So this is something where you've already done the dates, the numbers, the facts, and now you need to analyze and break it apart. Another level is to evaluate. And this level used to be at the end of Bloom's taxonomy, evaluation, but for several reasons was made this fifth level, because many believe that synthesis, the final one, or create, is the most challenging. Evaluate is when you make judgments based on criteria and standards. Now, this isn't just asking students their opinion on something and any answer is okay, but they have to make judgments based on standards. They have to defend what they say. Checking and critiquing are examples of evaluation. And here's an example question. Were the soldiers' actions right or wrong? How do you know? So they can't just throw out, that was wrong, but they have to really defend their answer and give a reason. And then finally we have the create level. This is when they have to put elements back together to form a novel, coherent whole, or to make an original product. It's the same as the old synthesis level. Generating, planning, producing. This is often a type of project that is created at the end of a unit where students have to put together what they have learned. Here's an example. Write a document for an imaginary country that has just gained independence. Include laws for each branch of government we have learned about, or create your own style of government. Give support for why your style of government will be successful. Okay, so do you see how students would have to know a lot of information to put that together? They would have had to study government and the structure of government, what it's like for countries to become independent, and they would have to put all of that together in their own way. This is much more than just application, where they apply it to a new situation. This is creating a new situation. So these 6 categories of Bloom's taxonomy are very, very important. And in your teaching, there should be a variety of these types of questions. It's not necessary that you always start with knowledge, then go to comprehension, then application, because students' brains don't have to think that way. You can ask a much more inventive, creative question if students have some background knowledge. But the idea is that you should not be just asking whatever question you think of on the spot. Because when we do that, we often ask lower order questions. In fact, that's what we're going to talk about in the next video. We're going to talk about research related to questioning and wait time, a very important concept, and then some techniques that you can use in the classroom that, based on research, show us that these are effective questioning techniques to use. All right, thank you so much for your attention.